Hey, without further ado, I do want to introduce you guys to Farmer Tony. He's been a dear friend of mine. Not just a farmer, he's been an entrepreneur since he was a teenager. He's a powerhouse businessman, and he saw this incredible berry. Tony, I know you're here. Unmute yourself, put yourself on the camera for a second, because we're going to bring you up and I'm going to ask you some questions. Um, and it's going to be powerful, Tony, because I want them to see you. I want them to talk to you. I want them to hear you and hear your story, my friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Heister Camp, the reason we have the amazing juice. Is Tony still on here, brother?
I'm here, Scott.
Oh, buddy. Good to see you, Tony. Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks,
Tony, I want you to introduce yourself to us by telling us, how in the world did you find this? You found this a long time ago, 17 going on 20 years really ago. And you've made it a mission of your life to make sure that people understand the power of this. Tell us the beginnings of Aronia Berry. How in the world did you come about it? What happened, Tony? Can you tell us?
Well, of course, Scott, I was looking for something natural. I'm not into the prescription scene, and with family members that had issues in my immediate family, serious sicknesses that led to death. And so I started searching for something that was natural. And I've been looking and studying and researching antioxidants. And I came across Aronia berry, and I saw that it had the highest antioxidant rating of any other fruit on planet Earth. And I said, gosh, this is pretty interesting. So I started looking at it, and I found out that it was native to the United States, that Native North Americans have used it for centuries to cure the common cold. I mean, it's in their medicine book today. And as I started looking at the antioxidants and some of the studies, and lo and behold, I began finding, literally hundreds of studies. This was back in 2005, 2006. And so then I decided to start looking and see if anybody was growing these bushes. And I found some bushes up in Minnesota at a nursery, and I planted them on my farm to see how, if they would grow here in South Dakota. And they did great. They made it through a very cold winter, 40 below wind chill factors, and, a couple, 3 feet of snow. And next spring they came out and they grew like crazy. And so, and then the studies, more and more studies kept coming out. 2007, 2008, every year, more research was being done around the world. It's probably one of the most studied fruits in the world for the health supporting benefits that these compounds have been identified in Aronia, helping certain issues of human health. And so that's what really drove me to grow these berries and then educate other farmers on how to grow them. When we looked at the micromole antioxidant score of 16,020 micromoles of antioxidants per 100 grams of fresh fruit, and compared that to what we were told that we should be eating, 6,000 micromoles of fruits and vegetables, antioxidants a day. This was going clear back to 2002, 2003. And then when I found out about Aronia, and just an ounce and a half shot glass of Aronia had 6, 7, 8 times what all this other stuff that they say you needed to eat, which would bankrupt the billfold. So we just started going down that road and growing the berries, and one thing led to another, and people started asking for the product. I know you got some other questions, Scott, but
I do. Talk to me about first of all, Aronia berry. What's the native? Where did it come from?
Well, it's a native plant here in North America, and that's where originally. It didn't grow anywhere else in the world except from like New England states across the upper Midwest, because it has to grow in the northern territories. It has to go through a freeze down period in the winter for it to produce a healthy crop in the spring. And so it's been here for centuries. We don't, I believe that God put this on our planet, and it just came to fruition here in the last 20 years at just the right time, because of the health issues, as Minister Mooney was saying, the problems that we have in our country, let alone what's going on in the world. And, we needed to have this product out there to change people's lives. It helped me. It was the first thing that I noticed that was the pain. I spent 30 some years in the furniture industry, and back pain, hand pain, arthritis, carpal tunnel, all those kind of things were going wrong, and plus failing eyesight. And it helped me and helped my family, and so we had to just tell it to the world.
I love the story about the Native Americans. And tell us a little bit about that kind of. Remember when you saw that in the journal, because that was quite a moment for me. I know personally.
It's was the Potawatomi Forest Indian tribe, which pretty much encompasses the northern half of North America, all the tribes that go across North America. And it was in their medicine book. And the name for it was Nicky Newnham, and translated chokeberry. Translated, the scientific name is Aronia melanocarpa. It's a bush. It grows in the northern area, and kind of like just any type of bush that you look at. It has big blossoms, thousands of blossoms in the spring, and then those blossoms turn to berries, and then we harvest them in September. The growth across the United States has been primarily because of our education process and research on what type of soil, what kind of nutrients we need in the soil, what's the microbial activity in the soil, so that it assists in bringing up all those nutrients into the berry to increase the antioxidant content. And so, with the Native Americans knowing what it did, it made sense for me to look into it even more. We now know what we have to do to apply to the soil to make the highest antioxidant fruit in the world. In fact of the matter is, with the right growing practices, we've seen ORAC scores on Aronia going in excess of 41,000 micromoles of antioxidants per 100 grams instead of the 16,000 that the National Institute of Health and the USDA have reported. So that's incredible in and of itself.
I do. I love that, Tony. The Aronia berry has more than, it has some other components.
Yeah.
When we look at that, I want you to talk about those components a little bit, because this isn't just some berry. This is amazing.
First of all, the number one health supporting that has been identified through science and medical research, they're called anthocyanins. Anthocyanins are found in the plant world, and I see Beatrice has a picture of raspberries. They've got anthocyanins in them. Blueberries have anthocyanins in them. But in the Aronia berry, it has anywhere from 20 times to 2,000 times the anthocyanin content in Aronia is what these other fruits do. Anthocyanins are very powerful anti-inflammatories. Science has revealed that they help everything from the eye, the brain, the heart, the circulatory. It also aids in increasing the immune system, strengthen the immune system, and it also acts as a modulator, immunomodulating activity. So when your body overreacts, it actually can modulate the immune system so that it doesn't create additional problems. Inflammation in some instances can be good, like you break an arm, it inflames, so it protects so your bones don't get further damaged. But in other instances, where you get inflammation in your heart or your circulatory system or in your intestinal tract, that can be bad if you get too much. So it modulates that and helps with that inflammation big time. That's the first thing that I noticed once I started drinking or eating the berries on our first harvest. The other thing I noticed that did is help my eyesight. For me, that was very important. And then what I saw from being able to rest a full 8 hours a night. I was a 5 to 6 hour guy, and I was able to sleep for 8 hours and had plenty of energy for the next day. So I ran, I was used to running 15, 16 hours a day. And, that was probably the worst thing I could have done, not eating correctly and not consuming the right foods and the right berry, for example, the Aronia berry. And it acts as a cellular protection. I think all of our, when we talk about drugs and medicines and stuff, a lot of times we don't get to the root cause. And so we need to get to the root cause, which is at the cellular level. And Aronia is a cell protective, the compounds of Aronia are cell protective, so that when we have a mutated cell, the Aronia can actually stop it from mutating. It protects other cells to keep that mutation from invading other cells. So, and that's a lot with inflammation. That's what a lot of times that happens. So we end up getting colds or flus or other sicknesses and diseases. The other thing I noticed that for me, I think my heart rate, my blood pressure, my cholesterol levels, all those things seem to be modifying once I got on this regimen of the Aronia juice twice a day. Now, today I drink a lot more than that because I just really love the taste of it. You know, I'm sitting here tonight and I drank half a bottle of Aronia berry juice already sitting here. It's just kind of like my go-to beverage now. And it keeps the poisons, you know, the toxins that we breathe. You know, we can't avoid these toxins. You know, in the food we eat, where we go out to eat for supper or go to a restaurant, you don't know where that came from. There are certain things that are in there that have been done to that food to make it taste better, to make it last longer. You know, preservatives, things like that. Those things can build up in our body. And so I love the fact that you talk about detox. That is so important to get that crud, that rusty stuff out of our body. Because once we get that out of our body, we function so much better. Our metabolism rates are better. Our energy levels are better. We sleep better. Our minds are more clear thinking. All those things have a direct effect by getting that detox, you know, getting that crud out of our system. And Aronia, for me, has helped me do that tremendously. I noticed one other thing you're talking about detox, Minister Mooney, was, you know, about getting the liver cleansed, you know, and Aronia has been identified acts as a chelator to help remove heavy metals from the liver that sometimes just sit in there and they cause a lot of problems long term. You know, when you talk about that little bug that runs around in our guts, in our body, in the blood system, you know, those parasites, it's so important to get rid of them. And when you have these heavy metals in your body, it is harder to do that. And so if you're going to fight that cause, there might be something else that you have to get rid of first. So detoxing, I think, is key to having a successful, healthy lifestyle. One thing about the Aronia berry that I know Scott didn't say, or I know you mentioned it, 1.5 ounces twice a day. And we always recommend that you drink that shot glass, you know, about a half an hour before you eat a meal. Because these antioxidants, these anthocyanins and proanthocyanins and the flavonols, all these polyphenolic substances that are found in Aronia are water-soluble antioxidants, so they absorb into the system very quickly. And that's, I think, is really important to do. If you get it in while you're eating, some people like to do it like, you know, maybe an hour after they eat, which is fine. But if you get it on empty stomach, these compounds will absorb into your body much quicker. Excuse me. The studies and research that have been done on Aronia have now numbered close to 1,000 medical and scientific studies around the world. I got a 55-pound suitcase full of studies that I print off every time I see a new one coming out. And these studies are just really awesome, from the anti-aging to eye health, brain health, heart health, joint health, gastrointestinal health, immune system. The Institute of Molecular Virology released a study out of Ulm, Germany, 2 years ago in November, showing that Aronia acts as an antiviral. It's also antibacterial and antifungal. These compounds that are found in Aronia assist in those areas as well. I know we've talked a lot about the health area of this, but I guess maybe, I see Scott must have got pulled away here. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask me? Maybe we'll take a couple questions here. Or Scott, you back? Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. But yeah, we can always take a question. But if you have a question, put it in the chat. We'll take it from the chat. Real quickly, Tony, and by the way, thank you. It's a beautiful overview. I don't want to take too many of people's time yet tonight. I know Melissa wanted this, and everyone wanted this as an introduction to you, Tony. you all have known Tony for years, for a lot of years. Incidentally met because of this berry, and the life-changing effect it had on me, my family. And I fell in love with it a long time ago. And it will have a profound effect on your life, on your family's life. That you talk about amazing. When you literally look at this thing, the incredible program that Akana has now teamed up with the Aronia berry in this way, I don't think there's a better health program on planet Earth. I really don't. I just do not think there's another health program that can touch this. And I'm excited about that. Tony, I know a question came across there. Did you see that?
Yes. So when it comes to the neuronal diseases that we have, there's several studies out there that show that Aronia, there's a certain compound in Aronia called uracilic acid. And patients who have had MS, multiple sclerosis, they show that this compound called uracilic acid actually repairs the myelin sheath and stops the progression. In that study, they show that this may have the same type of action in other neuronal diseases. And of course, Alzheimer's is one of them. We know there's no known cure for Alzheimer's. We just want to try to slow the process down. But I know as our brain ages, our brain shrinks, and there's, I think some of it's function, but it's also the aging process. So when I look at Aronia as being anti-aging, it's the self-protective actions that the compounds have in Aronia. I think it would definitely be something I would be taking. I've had family members who have Alzheimer's, and I know we were able to, I feel personally that we were able to hold that last stage off for several years in the family. And that's about all I can tell you on that. There's no specific thing that says that it can cure Alzheimer's.
Yeah, and again, we don't cure any diseases here. We can't make any of those claims, but what we can say, and this is important, what we can say to you is it's very simple. Because it's so soluble, it's so water soluble, and all that goes with it, it can pass through the blood-brain barrier as well, and that is a significant piece of information. Somebody just asked about blood pressure, Tony.
We did do one of the studies that came out that we included on the Akana Aronia juice. We did use a small percentage, like a half of 1% lemon juice added to the Aronia. This study came out back in, I believe, 2009 that showed by adding a small portion of a lemon juice to the Aronia increased the absorption rate through the blood-brain barrier of these anthocyanins and proanthocyanidins. So yes, that's one thing I wanted to make sure that you all know. From a blood pressure standpoint, yes, if you're on blood pressure pills or on blood thinners, you want to get your blood tested, because there's many of our customers that have bought in the past have had to have their blood pressure medicines lowered, and their if they're on a blood thinner of some sort like a Coumadin, they've had to have that lowered, because the Aronia compounds have been studied extremely large. A number of studies have shown that Aronia helps with the circulatory, with the relaxing of the blood vessels and the arteries, as well as the heart and the brain. So yes, you want to monitor that with your blood pressure, and making sure that that's stays in the range that need it to be.
Yeah, no known side effects.
No, none. Nope.
Yeah, no known side effects, anything like that. You can mix just anything with this juice, anything at all. And yes, you should take it every day. We recommend taking that shot in the morning and shot in the evening every day of your life. It is good for you, and it is very, very important part of your diet. Tony, let's just close it up, because I've known you for so many years, and I'm still learning. Okay, and we're going to have more of these Q&A and all sorts of stuff. But I did want to make this an introduction. I did want to help everyone understand how serious this is and what a big deal this is, we encourage you, go to PubMed. It's public, right? Go to PubMed and start looking up Aronia melanocarpa, and you'll just see the scads and scads and scads of studies, all the studies, and you'll be blown away how this kills colon cancer cells, how it does all sorts of other things, how much studies are there is mind-blowing to me, from reputable universities, medical facilities, viral
The
studies.
City of Hope. The City of Hope was the last one in March, released one on colorectal cancer and Aronia. It's incredible.
Big time.
So
Big time.
you go there and just when you get on the sites of PubMed or any other medical, put Aronia and whatever your concern is, your health concern that you're wanting to look at, and see if there's been any studies. There's literally a study for, I mean, it goes from fingernails to skin, morphology, hair. I mean, it's just all over the place. There's so many studies that have been done. So I encourage you to look at that, to learn. If you have more questions, I'm sure, Scott, any of the customers here or advocates for Arcana, they can get questions to you and get them to us, and we can try to find those answers out for you.
You know it, brother. And we thank you so much for being part of our family here at Arcana and be willing to do this with us. It is so special. It's such a big wow. It's such a big wow.